All right, so with that, I'll open it up to questions.
First of all, Kara, thank you for an excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Could you please clarify which group started this discussion and why?
Let's get it all on the table. And you know, I cleared it with Joy Thomas before I ever started addressing this question. And I said, you know, can I answer this? She goes, well, I just gave an interview to the Bottom Line where I very clearly answered this, so I think I'm pretty safe. The CAs in February approached CMA on working together. And then the CMAs tried to work within a facilitation role to work what a three-way might look like. So we were approached by both designations because of our training and because of our programming, right? So we were approached in 2004 as well.
Thank you. Kara, can you tell us a little more about why CGA is not part of this process?
So within the tagging environment, the CAs and the CMAs both felt that you would have to have tagging for a certain amount of time to allow us to build a core program and for legislation to change. And the CGAs wanted the ability to drop tagging immediately. So that was an issue that we couldn't really move past, right, as in the initial talks. You're welcome.
Kara, how are the CAs reacting to this? I know their leadership is in favor of the merger, but what are the members saying?
It's an interesting question. The members, any members who are 5+ years out of designation, for the most part, are very positive about the merger. We do find that the most resistant group are the new graduates coming through. We do have firm support. There's another difference from 2004. In 2004, the story I hear is that the firms were informed of the decision midnight before the decision, and that didn't go exceedingly well. So, you know, at this point, we're working with the firms. We are working, you know, with our recruiters and with employers to make sure that the CAs understand what the issues are and what it is that we're proposing. So we've seen a groundswell that's very positive, regardless of what people are reading on the forums. You're welcome.
Kara, what's in this for me, for the rest of us who are very proud of our designation and chose the CMA for very specific reasons as opposed to other designation?
Well, I mean, the what's in it for me is it's very interesting because, you know, from a member benefit perspective, the ability to build on existing career opportunities, to build on specialization, to build on networking and professional development is a big benefit for our existing members. But, you know, there's also the trade-off of what's in it for me and what's the best for the profession. And so we do struggle with that, is that, you know, you have to look at what is the best for the profession moving forward as well. Right? So what's best for the profession is to have standards, right? To have common base. Right? Member services will increase. I can almost guarantee that member fees will not go down. I get asked that question all the time. Will my member fees go down? And I always say, well, I don't think so, but they will be reinvested into the profession and into member services. So, you know, having a clear direction, having clear career projection, having increased professional development are all benefits that can happen with an alignment. But as well, building the future. And we have to look at both.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kara, you mentioned the confusion about all the 3 designations within Canada. Won't adding another designation even add more confusion to the employers?
It's a good question, and we do know that in the short term, we're going to have some explaining to do, if you will, but we think that the tagging will eliminate a lot of that confusion, and that's why we really insisted on, yeah, we do need this tagging. And one of the reasons being is that employers right now know what a CA, to some extent, CMA or CA. They don't know what the CPA is. So by allowing the tagging for a period of time, plus branding the CPA on the front end, right, we are sure that we will be able to eliminate a lot of the marketplace confusion as we move forward.
So, Kara, in context of that, what about the public perception, and is there any work planned to explain these changes to the public?
That's a good question. There will be a lot of, you know, changes that will be going through with the new branding if the decision was made to move forward with merger and if the vote was positive. We'd have a whole communication plan on how do we explain the differences to employers, to recruiters, to universities, to the public. But understanding that ultimately, we're not saying that we're going to be lowering any designation, and that would be the message that we're putting forward to the public. We want to become the preeminent business professional designation in Canada, which means our standards will only increase. They won't decrease. So as long as that messaging goes forward, that we will always maintain the public trust, that's our number one mandate. We feel that that will give us a lot of buy-in or support from the public at large. You're welcome.
So Kara, what's the risk of not going ahead with the merger?
The risk of not going ahead with the merger is we go back to status quo, if you will, but status quo won't work, right? So if not this, then what? Right? That's one of the questions that I always put back to membership is, okay, if you don't like this, what's your suggestion? What's your suggested alternative? We can't change the fact that global competition is coming into this country, right? They're coming. We know that they're coming. We can't change the fact that our programs will continue to cross over as we try to get more accountants into the pipelines of our individual designations, right? So when we look at what are the risks, well, the risks are we open ourselves up for competition, and we know that. For CMA, the risks sometimes are a little bit more specific. Although in Alberta we have a great market share of CMAs, across the country we're the smallest of the three. So, you know, we need to take a look at that as well. So the biggest risk for me would be the global competition and the increased barriers that will be brought up for mobility even in our own country.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kara, how much of the membership has to vote for this to go ahead?
It's an interesting question. Depends on province. Some provinces have 66.67 and some provinces have 50+1. Right, so you know what we'd be looking at is how does that work? How do we make sure that we get enough of the members voting? Because it would typically, you know, in a typical vote situation, you know, you go to an election, you vote or you don't vote, right? So people sitting at home, they don't vote. Well, they're still part of the membership. So how does that work, right? So is it 50+1% of the voting members, or is it 50+1% of all membership? So they're working with that. There is a special ratification group that's working on how would this work to make sure that we're not missing members' opinions and viewpoints because they're not voting, and what's the fairest situation. But it would be done by membership and by organization.